freedom, peace and unity. Hey, that's so. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Arise, oh compatriots, Nigeria call obey to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, in freedom, in freedom, peace and unity. Arise, my people, arise, my people. With love and strength and faith. With all our hearts and minds we serve. From about to Kogi down to Benue, from Warri to Lagos, Calabar to Port Harcourt. Sobato, Sobato, Sobato. Hey, arise, O compatriots, Nigeria call obey. Anywhere you go, anywhere you go. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining in today. Bon après-midi, Jiang Hao, buenas tardes, Ekason, Inaini, Ehihioma, Oloroka, Maino, Mokom Ekumdo, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining in on this conversation from different parts of the world today. It's so good to have you with us today at the Nigerian Global Affairs Council Policy Focus, where we are currently discussing a unified digital system for a united Nigeria. I bet you it's going to be an interesting topic today to discuss current realities today. On the panel today, we have some very eminent policy fellows from the Nigerian Global Affairs Council who have offered to share some insights today. Permit me to introduce to us all fellow Afolabi Oluwa. Bekere Amasoma, Oracle Academy Programs Manager, Sub-Saharan Africa. Also, we'll be having fellow Elvis Oga, Research Fellow, CIPIT, Stratton Moore University. Just briefly also, let me read out their citations briefly so we can all know for sure who we are actually speaking with today. But before I do so, I would like to introduce my humble self once again. I am Abraham John Onoja, Director of Public Relations for the Nigerian Global Affairs Council. Just a quick one. The Nigerian Global Affairs Council is a technology-based and digital media-driven public policy and research, public policy evidence-based research think tank focused on policy concerns that revolve around governance and public administration within the Nigerian system. Subsector proficient in researching, analyzing, interpreting, and presenting data related to markets, operations, and economics. He holds a bachelor degree in economics and 2 master's degrees respectively in international affairs and political economy. Obtained an international certificate in SME banking and financial analytics from the world-renowned Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India. Certified in project management with a diploma in ICT. Recipient of the prestigious Digital Identity and National Security Fellowship Award 2020 from the Center for African Affairs and Conflict Research. First Nigerian to participate in the Center for Intellectual Property and Information Technology Research Fellowship at the Strathmore University, Nairobi. He is currently running his PhD at the University of Abuja. Next, I would like to take fellow Bekere Amasoma is the Program Manager, Sub-Saharan Africa, Oracle Academy, the philanthropic arm of multinational computer tech corporation, Oracle Corporation. Her current role involves promoting Oracle Academy and supporting business operations in over 20 countries across Sub-Saharan Africa, including Nigeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Ethiopia, Kenya. Bekere believes that education for youth is the medium with which they can quench their thirst for realizing their potentials. She advocates for youth to be equipped with the best possible education so they can be assets to their community and that way contribute actively to its development. Bekere is passionate about nation building and is a firm believer that Africa has all it takes to rise above its current conundrums. She is a non-resident policy fellow at the Nigerian Global Affairs Council and serves on the governance barometer team. She enjoys traveling, enjoys reading, and volunteering. Thank you so much, everyone, once again, for joining in on this conversation. Next, I would like us to quickly delve right into the conversation of today. I don't know if we have Bekere with us. Bekere, are you there?
Yes,
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. So good to have you with us today. Oh, wow. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. How are you doing today? It's a beautiful weather in Lagos, Nigeria. I guess you're in Lagos, right?
Yes, I'm in Lagos.
Oh.
I'm fine, thank you. But I'm a bit drowsy because I danced all night at vigil. So what I
Oh,
had
wow.
to do
Amazing.
this
Do we also have fellow Elvis Oga with us?
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm here. I'm here with you. Good to have you. Good to be with you this afternoon.
Oh, thank you so much, Elvis. So good to have you with us today. How are you doing?
Very well, very well. I'm very fine. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. So I would want to allot 5 minutes presentation for both of us so we can kickstart this conversation. Bekere, would you like to go first?
I'll allow the gentleman go first.
No problem. Elvis, over to you.
It is always ladies first until things like this come up. Do not push it to us.
Ladies first, but well.
No problem.
Elvis, please don't allow me to speak some Asante Sana for you. Don't let me go.
Okay, it's all right. Good afternoon. Good to have you, and I appreciate the organizers of this wonderful series to have enlisted me to speak on the very important topic, a unified digital system for a united Nigeria. Okay, first and foremost, I would like to say that the push and drive for a digital Africa has gained traction over the last
Sorry, Elvis, for interrupting. Can you turn on your video so maybe we can see you?
Okay. Yes, this is not my real face.
So good to have you. So please, you
Yes.
can fire on right now. You look amazing, though. You look dashing.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
you can
Thank
fire
you.
on actually.
Okay. So, like I was saying, that there has been a very serious drive and push for a digital Africa in the last, say, 10 to 20 years. And this drive to digitalize operations, businesses, government services in Africa has opened a Pandora box. It has thrown up a lot of issues, complications, contrasting standards, okay? And one of which is the issue of an harmonized and interoperable identity database. Let's bring it down to Nigeria. In Nigeria, we have about 14 agencies who are running their own independent identity systems. Name them, from the INEC doing the voters card, immigration for the travel documents, tax, FRS, and then you have NIMC, you have NCC, and all of that. So all these institutions, they run and manage their own databases in silos. And this has given rise to serious complexities in the civilized world. In other countries of the world, this is not the standard. There is always a central database or a unique identifier that link citizens across all databases. So what we now have in Nigeria is a case where each agency run their own database. Year after year, they earmark huge budgets to run this database. And the solution is not still found. So I believe that having a unified digital system where you have a single token or a single identifier linking each individual such that they are who they say they are across this multiple database is the way to go. There has to be a departure from the current scheme of things to where we need to be, which is having a unified digital system. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Elvis, for that amazing presentation. Becker.
Okay.
The battle stops on your table again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me all.
Yes, can we quickly have your introduction? Your opening
speech. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Clearly, I can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. So, thank you, Elvis, for the I would like to say that the need for a unified digital identification system cannot be overemphasized as a people, right? Because all across the world, when you travel, for those that travel, it's easy for these advanced countries to easily pull out data of their citizens or legal residents, in their society, and of course, be able to track them. Like for instance, in America, like the littlest of things, some people commit crimes and you would think that they're not traceable, right? But they just need some sort of forensic audit of some sort of forensic stuff, and they are able to track these people. That's because they have a unified, you know, a unified, a unified identifying system, right? So, like Elvis said in his own intro, as Nigerians, we have too much job. It's hard being a Nigerian in the first instance. So for you to not start going up and down, you have to go to different agencies. They're trying to identify you. Passport office, they're trying to collect your data. The banks who are doing DBN. You are going to schools. Schools are trying to also verify you. Then we have NIN. Then telecoms is also, trying to verify your identity, right? This is already so much hassle for us as Nigerians. Everybody would agree that it's hard job, being a Nigerian. Let them not just add to our wahala. Do you understand? So I believe, like as Elvis has said, having everything in one common database is able to even assist us to even be more efficient in our service delivery. By this, I mean that you do not spend all of the time trying to retrieve data or trying to recapture a data that is already in the database of the identifier system, right? And thank God for technology. It's making a lot of things easier. There are data centers that are hosted in different regions in the world. And we also have cloud. You can have cloud-based technology that you can store all of these things into, and you are able to easily retrieve, all of the information that you need concerning a particular person, right? So I think this discussion is aimed at encouraging us to have a unique identifier system, so that number one, we cut out time. We're trying to, application time for some things, and we use it into more productive ventures. So what I would say is that let's have one central database as a country. I think that's what NIN is trying to do, by the way. But of course, sometimes you go to NIN offices, there's no network. Some people even had to pay for these things that are. We need to cut off all of those bureaucracy, and we must work towards having a centralized identifier system, so that when on, to beat time, because sometimes there could be emergency cases and one is trying to, that's when you're trying to register, or that's when you're trying to run helter skelter because of some because you cannot be attended to because you are not being identified. I believe that if we have a central database, if we have a centralized identifier system, we'll be able to really remove all these bottlenecks. And as a country, I believe that we'll be more productive. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's been an amazing opener from Elvis and Beccaria this afternoon. I can see how passionate the both of you are for a unified system, and I can see the pitch. I follow everything. But away from the bottlenecks, right? I'm going to ask this very honest question, a very honest question. Now, is a unified system possible in Nigeria? Let me paint a picture. According to NIMC, on 28 June 2021, they said they have captured 57.3 million Nigerians, right? That is NIMC. Let me take you to INEC. INEC said they are able to conduct a digital-based elections where results are gotten real time. But the National Assembly is saying, no, that's not possible. You need to go and get approval from the Ministry of Communications or something of that sort. You have banks running BVN. You have NIN trying to capture data. If you go towards immigration, you want to do your international passport, you will go through another process of registering yourself or trying to identify yourself, basically. I can run you through different platforms. Instead of just having one database where everybody can feed in or get their information easily, you practically have to register across board. I've painted a picture from the government arm, and I've painted a picture from the various portals and agencies we have. Now, back to the question, is a digital system in a developing country like Nigeria? Is it possible? Elvis, you want to go first?
Okay, yeah. She has already given me the baton to always go first. Okay, so this is what I want to say. And it is important we get it very right, very correctly. Okay? In the digital identification sphere, we have what we call the foundational ID system,
okay,
and the functional ID system.
Thank you.
Please, in whatever we do today, we must bear this in mind. Now, let me explain. The foundational ID system, it's about the basics. It's about the fundamentals of you as an individual, okay? And we have just two agencies in Nigeria that can be rightly classified as having foundational ID system, which is the National Population Commission, NPOPC, and the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC. Now, I'm heading somewhere. I want to explain why there is possibility or not of having a central database in Nigeria.
Okay.
So I'm just giving the background. Yeah. So now these two agencies have what we call the foundational ID system. And then you see this FIRS, Immigration, NCC, BVN, Road Safety, INEC, and co. What they have is called functional ID system. If you like, functional database. This is because NIMC provides the foundation that these other agencies now leverage on to provide or advance or administer government services to you, right? So it is practically impossible for Nigeria to have just a single database and shutting other databases. Because, let me take for instance, for example, let's use Nigeria Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS. They too have a functional database. When you come to NIMC, they give you NIN. The NIN gives you your basics, okay? Your age, your biometrics, your iris technology, your fingerprints, and all of that. And it gives you your name. So it means that when you now go to NHIS, the first thing they will ask you is that, gentlemen, please, can you provide your national identification number? So when they collect your identification number, it does not stop them from now imputing or getting other health-related statistics about you. So if you say they should not operate a database and NIMC should be the only source providing your personal information, it means NIMC will have to go ahead to start capturing your health dossier, your blood group, your HIV status, your other health related information about you, which is not possible. I don't know if you understand, if you are getting what I'm driving at. So
I get you.
So there are more, all these other agencies, they have to keep their database. But what a unified database means is that there must be this single identifier called the national identification number, such that if you go to immigration presenting this name, it means you are who you say you are. If you go to BVN, to banks, you are still the same Abraham Onoja. If you go to tax to collect thing, you are still Abraham Onoja and not Onoja A. Oga. Okay, so you cannot have the same face, different name and age across these other databases. What name does is that you are who you say you are across these multiple platforms, because this platform, you cannot shut them from operating. That is just the truth. So this system is what we call a federated system. A federated system, such that NIM links you across all these databases. So in my own view, you cannot have just one single repository in this country, but you must ensure that these registries, these data repositories, that they talk to each other, they are interoperable, and you have just one token that can link them together, and that is NIM. That is my opinion on this.
Thank you very much. Bakara, do you want to say anything on this?
So let me try to add to what he said. So if it's possible that we have a centralized database, I totally agree that we just have one central one, then every other of the agencies are able to also run some sort of identification when somebody supplies like their identification number. So a short definition of a centralized database is a database that is located, stored, and maintained in a single location, right? So I think that it is imperative for us to have a centralized database, but because like Enoch, like Elvis said, you don't want other agencies that do not have business with this aspect of your being, of your well-being, to have access, to the others. As for instance, if FRS, no, not FRS, this road safety shouldn't have your HIV/AIDS information or your blood, some sort of information. So it is important, and it is possible that we have a centralized system as a country, but the other agencies or the other bodies, the more specific bodies, can also have their own database of your information that is related to that particular sector, so that
Exactly.
for instance, if you are going to the passport office, I don't think they have any business with your family history or your blood group. I don't know. I just say they do not have any business with that. But it is important that we must first have a unique identifier number, which they can run a search, like you said, to ascertain that you are who you say you are, and have the correct, format in which your name appears. Because look, security issues, recently have opened our eyes to a lot of things. So some people could duplicate names, or and carry out nefarious activities with another person's identity, right? And it's even possible, Abraham, I'm sorry, I have to come to you again, that there's another Abraham or not just somewhere that exists, but he may be a bad guy, right? So we do not want to come arrest you for another person's crime, right? So everybody must have a unique identifier system, but let all agencies and all relevant bodies maintain their own, database, which is relevant to them. So I would like to take the case of Rwanda. Rwanda has a national identity system, but I'm not sure how many. I don't have the figure of their population that has been captured yet. But it is believed that at least 95% of them who have enrolled have been issued their card or something like that. I'm not sure what's the percentage in Nigeria. If we're all asked, we all go and pull up our numbers from maybe our phones or where we have it. But that the card itself has not been issued to not so many people. And I feel that it is very important that we provide people with that hardware, because in times of emergency, really, maybe at an accident scene, you may not be able to ask an unconscious man for his NIN to be able to treat him. I don't know if you get my point.
Clearly, I get you.
You can maybe get it in his wallet or something. That's the hard copy, or the hard the scene, the one we can see, not just the digital one. So I feel that yes, it is possible. We actually need a centralized digital identification system. And yes, I would say, I would agree with Elvis that let every other agency have the information that is relevant to them and not
To the
be,
service they provide.
thank you, and not be intruding in people's privacy in the name of we have a centralized identifier system, and you begin to know things you're not supposed to know about the other person. So that would be it.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I see that, because why I'm asking all these questions is I just feel at some point there is a bit of duplication going on somewhere, even though we cannot really place it, but that's what it looks like. So now back to the main thing, right? If you're having all of these platforms running differently, right? If you look at it very well, it is impacting on the nation's budget, where NIN has its own budget. This has budget to run this system at NiGAC. So we're not looking at identifying these loopholes or challenges, but preferring solutions to them. That is why we exist, or recommending what should be done for ease of accessing some of these things. Now, I'm going to ask, if asked, right, if opportune, what will you suggest the government needs to do to make some of these things a bit more, how do I put it now, a bit more unified? In the sense, Bekere, you said something earlier, traveling abroad, you see how unified most of these things are. You don't have to go to this to start imputing your data afresh, or going to somewhere else to go and impute your data, or go somewhere else to no. It's actually a very long process. So in the instance of an emergency, for instance, I mean, a whole lot of your data are captured already. A whole lot of them. Now, how best can the government go about having a unified system? I understand what Elvis is saying, that police need to have their own, NIMC needs to have their own, immigration needs to have their own, yes. And then you have a code generally, right? Where you are told I'm a Nigerian, so that's why I have this code. I am who I am, that's why I have this. Or there's Abraham John Onoja A, he has this code. Abraham John Onoja B, he has his own code, right? That's a fact. How can we make this system integrated in such a way that readily these informations can be accessible by these agencies? That's what I'm looking at. What do you have to say, Elvis? Do you think that's possible?
Yes,
something
it is very possible.
Encompassing, yes.
It is very possible. Let me explain to you. I'll still go back to the NIMC, to the NIMC. It is the apex body in Nigeria. It is the apex body in Nigeria that has the legal power to manage, operate, and regulate the national identity database. Now, if you're talking about having a unified system in the way and manner you are suggesting, the thing to do is that the national identity database can have a different components for these agencies. You have the database that has the basics and the fundamentals, and then if you want this information about your institution, they can collocate it. They can collocate within that NIDB without you needing to have your own servers, your own racks, your own infrastructure located in your own institution. It can still be within the vicinity and the precinct of the national identity database. But there are certain information that will be unique to the services that you provide, but it will all still be within the national identity database. It is very possible. And it's a matter of co-location. You don't need to go and start building your own database from scratch. Okay, you can tell the NIMC to provide. I think NIMC they do some of those things. Some state governments have approached the commission that, please, we want you to host the number of citizens or probably those who are paying tax in our state. Okay, so a part of the NIDB will be segmented to provide you that window where you can see, for instance, just say the National Primary Health Care Agency, you want to have the number of children that have not been vaccinated for polio. NIMC can help you capture that database, maintain that database within the national identity database.
So what you're saying in essence is the Minister for Health can go to NIMC and tell NIMC to capture the health database of its citizens, and they can create that. Exactly. If a governor can go and say, I need database for kids in Kogi State, for instance, that have not been vaccinated, and they can do that, it then means INEC can also approach the same NIMC to say, give us the number of adults above 18 years who can vote. Right?
Yes, exactly. Even for that,
hold on, Elvis. Hold on, Elvis.
Yeah.
I understand what I'm saying. Now, what you're saying ties to exactly what I'm asking. If NIMC can give us database of people who have not been vaccinated, polio, for instance, or COVID, for instance, right? Or the minister can ask NIMC to give you the database of people, right, who have HIV/AIDS, for instance, right, within Nigeria. NIMC can do that, right? INEC can approach NIMC to give you database of people above 18, and they can do that. That fits into the exact question that instead of having these duplicated responsibilities, NIMC can actually host all of this information, all of this database. Am I correct?
Exactly.
Thank you. Now,
exactly.
Why the duplication of data, of information across? That is actually what this is about, a unified system. Why can't we have a segment in NIMC that captures health, the health part of things, or those who have criminal records? The police can just log into your database from the central. They all have inroads to this database where the securities operatives have maybe a code to use to access this database, or in the instance of an emergency, a doctor on duty in the hospital can just type in, maybe with your card or an identification on you, they can easily get it to your record. Irrespective of where you are, provided you're in Nigeria and a Nigerian, with the NIN number, unique code. Bekere, do you understand what I'm saying?
I get you. I think I would like to just highlight, two factors that why are we not doing this, right? Because I think that's the right thing to do, right?
Exactly. So that's what I want.
I will just identify, I've been able to identify two factors. The first one will be probably, of course, technology can help us do all of this, right? Tech companies are doing it all around across, Europe and America. It is possible. But there are two factors I would like to point. Now, the first one will be lack of technical know-how or technical skills on the part of the implementers of these, policies on how to go about this thing, right? So we need to increase our technical know-how, especially for the policy implementers, for those that are in charge of carrying out all of these things. And even the policymakers themselves, they need to be able to understand or study other systems and how it works, right? So because, we all want a national identifier system, we just do it shabbily. No, you need to go and study what the people that have been doing it, how they've been doing it, and adopt these technologies and pay for your people to be trained to adopt these technologies, so that you do not just go and, you do not just waste your time, basically. Because this leads me to my second point. The second reason why this isn't being done, aside from the technical know-how and the technicalities involved in doing this, is corruption. Corruption is a key factor here. To be honest, duplicity would always fall corruption. Because if they do not allocate money for NIMC, they do not allocate money for capturing data in police, and all of those things, how will corruption thrive? You understand? So it is, lack of will on the policymakers to actually drive away corruption or reduce corruption in the system that is making this duplicity, thrive. Because everybody wants a piece of the national cake. How will I not have budget for capturing blood donors in my agency? How will I not have data for, how will I just go to NIMC and just pull it out? No money will come to my agency. I don't know if you get, what I mean. So this is thriving. I feel that it is possible that we have a centralized, data system that is not, thriving on duplicity, that is not in multiple places and stressing people up and down. If we are able to take away, if people are able to upskill themselves and learn the technicalities involved in doing all of this, even Elvis said it could work. But how about if you don't have people that are trained to do it? It won't work. So even if you import these technologies and your local manpower is not able to do it, that's the end of it. And secondly, we must resolve to drive away corruption, because duplicity would always fuel, corruption. Everybody wants a share of the national cake. And monies must be allocated to my agency. If they give NIMC to do it now, how will I buy Jeep? How will I send my children to Nottingham University? So that's my two cents on that issue.
Elvis, I enjoy Becca's point a lot, because you see, she's gradually beginning to spill what I want to hear.
Okay.
You mentioned the fact that this. Hold on, Elvis. Hold on. Okay. You mentioned this thing is possible. It's doable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's doable.
Why are we not doing
it's not doable. It's not rocket science. I've seen this thing happen around the world. It's not rocket science. I'm happy. See, I'm happy you mentioned it yourself. See,
yes.
Bekere mentioned something about duplication of these things. That's why I took you back to immigration, took you to all of those places I mentioned for a reason. All of these people have budgets for this thing, to make these things work or operate in their parastatals and agency. Whereas we have one that is saddled with the responsibility of doing these things. Why can't we only expand the scope or expand your database to accommodate all of these things in one central place, so everybody can feed into it? I mean, Bekele has mentioned corruption, which is a very serious issue. A very serious issue. You and I know how much is earmarked for a whole lot of these parastatals year in, year out. I see you're eager to speak. I would allow you speak. All of these things that have been mentioned, please, over to you.
Okay. Thank you. It's not like I'm eager to speak. After all, I'm here to speak anyways. So, Bekele, I acknowledge your 2 points. One is technical, and the other one is social. Right? Let me just classify corruption under the social malaise issue angle. Okay, but there is a very fundamental point that I think we've not highlighted. Now, you see these agencies that you are thinking or you are advising that they should approach NIMC, that they want this certain information about their customers, and NIMC should capture it and host it in the central database, which is possible. But why are they not doing this? I think that issue is legal. I will explain. If you check the enabling act of these agencies, the act of parliament that sets up these agencies, you will discover that they have a clause that clearly empowers them, sort of, to do everything or certain things within the realm of their powers to provide their services. And when you go to them and tell them that, oh boy, you are not supposed to start your own biometric data capturing activity when NIMC is there. Simply approach NIMC and tell them that you want this information. They already have the technology, they already have the manpower, the 442 Futronic biometric data capturing systems and all of that, the scanners, the webcams and all of that. Why go ahead to procure these things again when government have already provided this apparatus to NIMC? Why not just simply approach NIMC and tell them this is what you want? Why having a budget head every fiscal cycle that you need this appropriation? They will tell you that, young man, please sit down, look at our act. It empowers and enables us to do this. So first and foremost, we have to revisit the establishing act of these agencies that has already empowered them to do what they are doing. That is why we cannot fault them on the legal grounds. Trust me, I've sat on various committees that reviews the extant laws establishing all these agencies. In one way or the other, they have a clause in their act that empowers them to do what they are doing. And they latch on to that to do whatever biometric related, data capturing related activities they are doing. So me and you, we know the process. If you want to go and amend laws, we know how long it will take to pass first reading, second reading, third reading, National Assembly. They will go on recess, they will resume till, and all of that. So let's look at this legal angle too. It's one of, when you were reading my citation, you probably didn't highlight the fact that for 5 years, I was the secretary of the federal government committee on harmonization and integration of disparate databases in Nigeria. And one of the challenges we had has to do with the legal impediment that empowers this agency. Immigration, customs, Nigeria police, road safety, all of them, their act empowers them to do whatever you think this thing they are doing. It's just for the president or the political will from the powers that be to knock these people into line. We've had several circulars from the office of the secretary to the government of the federation. We've had circulars from the office of the vice president. We've even had a presidential directive in this country instructing all other agencies, 14 of them to be precise, to soft pedal on their biometric activities projects and shake with NIMC. Go online, you will see them signed by Ayin Pius Ayin, Babati Lawal, Boss Mustafa, the vice president. They released this statement, this policy statement, this circulars, even ministers of digital, that all agencies should handshake with NIMC. You will discover that after all this, they still go back to do whatever they are doing. At a time, the federal government of Nigeria wrote to the Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP, that they should not entertain any application or document that they want to procure 442 scanners, racks, database infrastructure that NIMC already have, that they should not give certificate of no objection and approval for them to procure all these things. But somehow, they still get to proceed to procure all this infrastructure that NIMC already have, that the government has already provided NIMC with funds to buy, and you see them still going ahead. So it's a precarious situation, really. But the fact is that this legal impediment is an issue that we need to resolve. Aside the technical issue, which according to Becker, it's not really a problem when you talk about the technical know-how. Seriously, it's not really an issue. The issue of corruption, well, it's an issue that has been there and has been old as Nigeria itself. But this legal issue, we need to resolve it. These agencies, they have a clause in their enabling act that empowers them to do this. So they normally use that to challenge NIMC. Thank you very much.
Hi, Abraham. I agree with you. I think that the legal process too would also be an impediment to it. But I think that, are you sure that that's not maybe coming from lack of political will to change the status?
That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. Political will. Okay. The political will. Because if the federal government has already said that Bureau of Public Procurement should not issue certificates to any agency that wants to procure biometric related apparatus and data capturing devices, equipment and all of that, that NIMC already have that in their budget, and the federal government will fund NIMC to provide this, that this agency should just handshake with NIMC. And yet, somehow these people still get these certificates to go ahead and import these machineries and all of that. Then it boils down to political will. Because if somebody is made a scapegoat, if an agency is dealt with, that will set a deterrence that you cannot just wake up and just start procuring this equipment that are already existing somewhere within the confines of the National Identity Management Commission. So we need to look at that seriously. And then another legal issue that I may want to raise is the issue of data protection legislation in Nigeria. What we have as at today, the principal or the statutory regulatory instrument of regulatory data capturing, storage, sharing, and all of that in Nigeria is the NDPR, the Nigeria Data Protection Regulation, which is being managed by the NITDA. It is not yet a comprehensive and holistic legal instrument. It is an offshoot of their act, which is still fragmentary, if you ask me. So we need to have a comprehensive, holistic, specific data protection law in Nigeria. And NIMC is championing this. It has reached advanced stages of being passed as an act of National Assembly. So because sometimes this agency will cite and tell you that if they want to share information with NIMC, if they want to transfer their data to NIMC so that NIMC can take it up from there and all of that, that there is no data protection law to back that process. So they need to see a data protection law that in case of eventualities in the process of transition of data from one place to the place of data, to the place of rest of data, there could be so many things that can happen within that process. And you need a data protection legislation that can address those eventualities. We still don't have that in Nigeria. The NDPR does not sufficiently provide for issues that might arise in case of all of that process. So we need that legal angle. I'm not a lawyer, but I have been in panels, in committees that have reviewed extant laws that borders on data-related issues in Nigeria. And these are some of the cases that we've seen. So we need to do that as soon as possible. Aside the technical and corruption angles that you've mentioned.
Yeah. I think let me just also mention from what you said, like laws like the or acts like the NDPR need to be reviewed from time to time, because I'm
Exactly.
sure that when these acts were promulgated into the law, there were no unique issues that were 21st, maybe 21st century issues that were facing
That we are
us,
seeing
right?
every day
So
now.
yes, so I think laws are meant that they shouldn't be cast on stone. Of course, it also takes the political will to be able to come up to say we need to change these laws, we need to change this
Exactly.
act, we need to update, to review these things
We need to
to
review
accommodate
and
the current
amend.
challenges that we're facing. Yes, yes. So nice one. Well done.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess everyone's network it seems to be off, but I'm actually trying this number and it's not going through. So
It's part of the data related issues we're having in Nigeria.
exactly. So I probably guess yes, but just to say this personally, I'm listening like intently and like to everything that the both of you shared. I think I also got more knowledge. Because there are some stuff I didn't know myself, and of course that like I now know, and I think the conversation around digitization, identification, it's that's actually gone very well. So thank you very much. Ordinarily, we're supposed to end by 3 o'clock. So the thing now is, I probably don't know if
Yeah.
you can add other questions, but in the absence of everyone not being available, I probably think we just go about concluding, remarks, so that we just keep to the time of ending up by 3 o'clock. So I think, Bekeri, we'll probably start with you. So just your closing remarks, of course, as we wind down.
Okay, thank you, Olga. I feel that what this topic is very relevant to for us as a people, because times are changing and things are evolving. One thing that I would particularly take out of this conversation is we need to, as a people or as leaders or as policymakers, muster enough political will to change these things, because if we're trying to change the system, or at least try to make our country work, there's a lot of sacrifices we'll have to make. Even it will be at the detriment of some people's personal gain.
Interest.
We must, yes, we must resolve to carry out all of these activities if we must, go on as a country. Because at the end of the day, all of these issues, all of these impediments to having a unified digital system, we're going to pay for it on the long run. We're going to pay for it. So we don't want, even if we don't pay for it, we don't want our children to come into a worse Nigeria. We want our children, I'm raising boys, I want them to come into a better Nigeria. I want them to come and meet a better, society. So let's just hope that the policymakers we have now, and also for us, the upcoming policymakers, we should remain dedicated to unifying this country, because there's a lot going on. There are lots of divisive comments around the country. And some people are even saying, for instance, most of the killings up north, people are saying, oh, these guys are not Nigerians, these guys are mercenaries, these guys are, imported. If we have, we can't boldly say that, or we can't boldly say that, oh, they're Nigerians or they're not Nigerians, because what's our identification system? Have it captured up to their city? Have they been captured? All of those things. We need to begin to take these things seriously, so that we're even able to fight insecurity, which is gradually tearing this country apart. I wish everyone all the best, and thanks for having me this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bekeri. So yes, Elvis, over to you. Your closing thoughts.
Okay, my closing lines will be in the form of making certain clarifications. Okay, first and foremost, I want to talk about the card. Yeah. Okay, you see, the world has moved or is moving beyond material tokens. Okay, we are in a dematerialized world. What the NIMC has done is to soft pedal on physical card and focus on populating the national identity database. It is more important to have the national identification number because that is what identifies you. If you go to the UK, they don't have a physical card. What they have is the NHS or NHS number. Okay, the health number. If you go to US, what they have is a social security number, right? The SSN and all of that. If you go to India, what they have is the Aadhaar number. So let's focus on issuing a unique identifier to every Nigeria, which is the name, and soft pedal on card. And in any case, the National Identity Management Commission has already come up with an innovation. They've launched a mobile app where you can even have your card in soft copy on your phone. Because it costs enough. We've been into recession twice in the past 6 years. So it doesn't make for much economic prudence to start budgeting billions of naira to produce physical cards with a chip. So the NIMC app has already taken care of that issue of having a physical card with photo. And then that brings me to the issue of people saying that NIMC is registering and issuing a name to non-citizens. Let me tell you this. Is it not to Nigeria's interest if foreign aliens come into our country and we have them in our database? It means we can be able to track any nefarious activity they are doing. The name does not confer citizenship on anybody. Rather, it helps us to track whoever is in our soil or outside our shores that is conducting or engaging in any nefarious activity. We can be able to track them. So having name, giving name to everyone, it's not against or does not confer citizenship on that person. It is immigration that has the legal power to confer citizenship, not NIMC. NIMC, it is even better for us to have them, their biometrics, 10 fingerprints and iris and all of that in the national identity database. So when they engage in any sinister activity, we can grab them, we can trace them, and we can catch them with collaborating with the security agencies. So my concluding remark is that we need to have all databases in Nigeria updated with national identification number. No database in Nigeria should operate, or no government agency should issue or give service to any Nigerian without the Nigerian first of all presenting their national identification number, because that is the primary source of KYC in this country. That's the source information to know that you are who you really say you are. And for the issue of saying it's difficult registering for your name, that is no longer the case. The Commission has adopted what they call the ecosystem approach, whereby they've decentralized data capturing and they've given license to over 500 vendors, so that even in your street, you will now see banners saying, come and do your name. But of course, those centers have been certified and they go through periodic certification, and their equipment and software are in accordance with our specification, with NIMC specification. Let me not say because I'm speaking as a NiGAC fellow here, and not as a NIMC personnel. Okay, so these centers are all over the place now. So quietly walk into any center and get registered, get enrolled, and have your national identification, because name is your identity, not the card. Thank you very much.
Oh, Thank you so very much, Elvis. I guess that's a powerful closing. That's a powerful closing. Powerful closing. Very powerful closing also from Elvis. So to the public that has joined us for today's of course event, someone is actively speaking from the NiGAC. My name is Elda. I'm also a non-resident policy fellow in the council. So yes, my colleagues are the ones that, of course, that were earlier, speaking, and Abraham moderating the session. So I think in closing, we would love to, thank everyone, appreciate everyone, for joining today's session. I believe that whatever knowledge we've gotten, yes, we would also get to package this and obviously do a press release in this instance, at least so that our government officials would also get to see them. So thank you very much again, Elvis. Thank you, Bekere.
Thank you very much.
To every member of the NiGAC team behind the scene. Thank you very much, of course, our distinguished guests and participants for joining us today. We're very grateful. We see you again later this month. Just to put this out there, we're going to be having Senator Bukola Saraki and Doyin Okupe. These are the former Senate President, and Doyin Okupe was a one-time presidential, senior presidential advisor that will be speaking, of course, on the NiGAC platform later this month. Once we've confirmed the details, of course, we'll begin to put out the publicity. So please come on the lookout on our social media platforms, who are the Nigerian Global Affairs Council, across Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and of course, Instagram. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Nigeria's call to serve our past shall